If you're learning Japanese, you know those tiny little particles, like o, ga, and ni, are a really big deal. But if you ever notice that when you talk about what you can do, they seem to just throw out the rule book? Well, in this explainer, we're going to untangle exactly why that happens and how you can master it.
So here's how we're going to break it all down. We'll start with the puzzle itself, then we'll get into the one golden rule you absolutely need to know. After that, we'll cover 2 special cases to watch out for, see how it all works with some real examples, and then wrap up with your main grammar takeaway.
All right, so what is this big puzzle anyway? Well, it's this weird but super consistent shift that happens whenever you change a normal sentence into one that talks about your ability to do something, what we call the potential form in Japanese grammar.
Just look at this right here. I read kanji uses the standard object particle, o. But the second you change the verb to I can read kanji, the particle just mysteriously swaps over to ga. Why does it do that? Figuring this out is honestly the secret to sounding way more natural. So how do we crack this code? It all boils down to one simple golden rule. And trust me, once you get this, the whole thing just clicks into place.
And here it is. In potential sentences, that object marker o can and almost always should become ga. A good way to think about it is that the focus isn't on the action anymore. Instead, it's on the thing itself, the thing that you have the ability to do something with. That's the whole idea behind this shift.
And this is why it really matters for your fluency. I mean, sure, you could probably still use o and people would get what you mean, but switching to ga is what makes you sound really smooth, really natural. It's one of those little details that really separates the beginners from the more advanced speakers. Here's a super clear example of the rule in action. The direct action is read a book. That becomes the potential ability can read a book. And notice, besides the verb changing, the only other thing that flips is that particle, from o straight to ga.
Okay, so we've got the main rule down. Now let's talk about 2 crucial special cases. If you get these, you'll be able to handle pretty much any situation and avoid a couple of really common mistakes.
And the good news is, these 2 exceptions are really straightforward. First, the verb dekiru, which means can do, pretty much always wants to be paired with the particle ga. And second, all the other particles, the ones for location or direction, they just stay exactly the same. Simple as that.
Let's dig into that first special case. The verb suru, to do, is absolutely everywhere in Japanese. Its potential form is dekiru. So the standard phrase to do work is shigoto shimasu. But when you want to say you can do work, it becomes shigoto ga dekimasu. With dekiru, you're almost always going to use ga.
And here's our second case. That whole rule about switching to ga, it only applies to the direct object marker o. That's it. All the other particles, like ni here, which is telling us the destination, they just stay put. They don't care that the verb changed to its potential form.
Okay, enough with the theory. Let's see how these rules actually play out in the real world. We'll look at a few different examples across different tenses and situations so you can see how it all works.
Here's a textbook example. The ability is can speak, and what is it that I can speak? Japanese. So Nihongo gets marked with ga. This is our golden rule in a simple, positive sentence. Perfect.
And what's cool is, the rule works just the same when you're saying you can't do something. The fish, which he can't eat, is still marked with ga. The basic structure doesn't change whether you're being positive or negative.
What about the past tense? Well, the rule holds up just fine. The ability was in the past, yesterday, and the object of that ability, this book, is still marked with ga. The tense of the verb doesn't change the particle logic at all.
And yup, you guessed it, even in the past negative, the rule is rock solid. The thing she couldn't act on, the TV, is marked with ga. You can really start to see how consistent this pattern is, right? Okay, let's circle back to our first special case. The verb here is dekimasen, the potential form of suru. And true to its rule, the thing she can't do, work, or shigoto, is marked with ga.
And our last example really nails down that second special case. The location of the action, at home, is marked with the particle det. Since that's not a direct object, it's totally unaffected by the potential verb. Our golden rule just doesn't apply here. All right, we've gone through the core rule, the 2 big exceptions, and a bunch of examples. Let's wrap this all up with a clear, final summary to really lock it all in.
So here's the bottom line.
boiled down to 3 key points. 1. Your main rule is that the object particle o usually becomes ga when you're talking about ability. 2. Remember that special case for dekiru. It almost always takes ga. And 3. Don't overthink it. All the other particles just stay the same.
So there you have it. You've now got the key to unlocking a much more natural, more expressive way of speaking Japanese. You can go beyond just saying what you do and start to really share what you can do. So, what's the first new thing you're going to say you can do in Japanese?